So, so what kind of quality of life is gonna change other than your perspective about life, or how you feel? Is that all that's gonna change, or?
Much more than your perspective, much more than the way you feel. There are actual realms of existence which are already there, but most people do not perceive them because their perception has remained limited.
What do you mean by realm of existence?
Well, for example, let's not turn it into something that's metaphysical or mystical. Let's say the full spectrum of what is the mind. You know very well that what is mind, most people are aware of just a very small fragment of what they call mind. They're usually just aware of the activities of the conscious mind, right?
Okay.
Even when they are entering into dream, majority of the time, one is almost in a zombie-like condition. You're just responding. You're a slave to the experience. You become overwhelmed by the compulsive reactions that are happening in you. But how many people enter into a dream and turn it into a truly conscious process? There's a type of yoga that's centered around this.
Lucid dreaming?
Yes, turning it into a science of lucid dreaming, which is called dream yoga. Because think of the enormous percentage of time people are either in dream or dreamless sleep. Think of this, you're sleeping on average 8 hours a day. So that means in a period of 75 years, which is the average human life expectancy, you are either in dream or dreamless sleep for 25 years. That's not a small percentage of time. Imagine if you could transform those 25 years into a conscious process. That is tremendous resource for deepening your wisdom and self-knowledge. So that's what I mean. Other realms of different ways of perception that normally don't enter into human experience, which offers you insight that normally you would not have through other states of so-called ordinary states of consciousness.
What's the point of lucid dreaming? Isn't it just having fun and playing around, having control of your dream? Is there any other benefits?
It is, yes, it's having a thorough exploration of your mind. But imagine you could do such a thing, but in a passing through a more symbolic, metaphorical experience. For instance, you've heard of shamans, right? A shaman it's a different approach from yoga. My understanding, there's heaps of superstition connected with shamanism, but the process itself of consuming a certain herb that modifies something in your consciousness and experiencing so-called hallucinations of the mind, all of this is just you confronting yourself. All those visions and hallucinations that you experience are just manifestations of your own consciousness. So similarly, when you turn your attention inwards and let's say the dream turns into a conscious process, all the different so-called beings and phenomena you might experience in the dream, you're just encountering different aspects of your own consciousness. So how do you handle these experiences? For instance, you can have conversations with you can even have conversations with those beings, and you're really just having a conversation with yourself. So as the unconscious mind is a world of metaphor and symbolism, you're just diving into this ocean of symbolism, and that can help you to have a better understanding of, for example, what is the karmas that are at work in your life, what is your the nature of your conditioning and programming, and what are some of the origins of some of your past traumas as well. So it has much potential, but it has to be employed properly under right guidance.
So
if you're just, as I said earlier, if all that you're doing is just having a sightseeing tour of your own consciousness, then you're probably not going to learn very much. However, if it's done with the attitude of self-inquiry, understanding what is the nature of the self, you can question the nature of the self by observing your conscious mind, but you can also examine the nature of self by exploring into the depths of the subconscious and the unconscious. So, fundamentally, this is the main inquiry. Understanding, who am I?